What is up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. This is Lord of the Plains once again. Now, this is the last time I'm going to say this. Life keeps getting in the way, but I am now officially going to be uploading on a more frequent basis. My editor and I have come to an agreement to where I will be uploading at least one video a week, whether that is a movie review, ranking list, villainous, however it may be. Today, it is the 27th of October. Not sure when this video will come out, but it is the end of October, and I meant to get this video up a lot quicker. However, no time better than ever to get it uploaded. So, it is Halloween time, it is spooky month, so what better way to send off October than ranking my top 15 horror films. When I say horror, I don't mean like actual legit horror every single film. I'm also talking about like scary movies and, you know, kid-friendly horror movies and all that. I pretty much touch basis on at least a good amount of subgenres in horror. Now, this is no particular order. I am going to do a couple of honorable mentions. I am going to put Alien from 1979. Fantastic movie. Just didn't make the cut. I am also going to put Hereditary in there, Signs, Cabin in the Woods, and Trick or Treat. All those films I really enjoy and love. They all hold a special place in my heart, but I do think that these 15 movies are a little bit more superior than these honorable mentions. This is my list. It is my list. Nobody has influence on it, so everybody is probably going to disagree with my list and ranking. However, you're more than welcome to dispute it. Comment down below what your favorite movies are and whether you agree or disagree with my list. So, without further ado, number 15, I've got The Conjuring 2. I do believe in the entire Conjuring universe franchise that this is the best one, set in London. I don't think there's anything really to say other than it's got some great suspenseful moments, some great horror elements, and I just overall really enjoy it. Number 14, it's actually kind of funny that I'm filming this because the HBO Max It, Welcome to Derry just premiered. So, at number 14 spot is It, the 2017 adaptation from the book and the 90s miniseries. Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise, what is there more to say? He is absolutely fantastic. He is honestly one of the best modern-day horror icons there is, and I honestly truly think that with my dislike and hatred for clowns, that I can actually watch this movie and separate that hatred for it, because the performances in this movie are fantastic and outstanding. I really enjoyed the adaptation of it, and I just thought it was overall really well done. Number 13, we have Talk to Me. Now, this is a movie that is more recent, but if you have never seen it, I honestly don't want to spoil anything about it because you really should watch it without having much knowledge about it. I'm not going to say much about it, but other than one of the main girls that gets possessed by something, she does an absolute phenomenal job, and I really enjoyed the way this movie was, and it was such a surprise for me because I had no knowledge about anything going into it, and I was pleasantly surprised. Number 12, we have, honestly, probably, in my opinion, one of the best animatronics use and practical effects to this date, John Carpenter's The Thing from the 80s. This movie was absolutely jaw-dropping when I first saw it. The practical effects are outstanding, and it honestly, to this day, makes me creeped out. And I love the setting where it's all cold and despair and snowed in. I kind of love that. All right, number 11. Now, this is a bit of a rare pick. I have not talked to a lot of people that have actually seen this film, but if you want an evil Patrick Stewart, please watch this movie. It is called Green Room. I believe it's from the early 2010s, but this movie is absolutely brutal. It is graphic. It is gory. It's everything you want that is set in one place, which is like an arena or some sort of area where a band performs. Now, just watch this movie. I will give you like a warning. It is graphic. I'm not going to spoil too much, but a box cutter is used, and in a very interesting way. But the first time I saw that movie, I was absolutely floored and blown away. To this day, this is actually one of the only movies that still makes me squeamish, and there's not a lot of movies that I will say that about, so that holds a special place in my heart. All right, top 10. here we go. Now, this movie blew me away, and honestly, it is probably the best movie in this entire franchise. That is Godzilla Minus One. Now, I will say, if you watch Godzilla Minus One minus color, where it's only black and white, it makes it even creepier and scarier. When I first saw this movie, I was with my mom. We both were absolutely floored and blown away. Everything about this movie was phenomenal. I will say there is a little bit of a lull in the human story point, but the design on Godzilla was fantastic. The atomic breath was fantastic. The ending scenes were fantastic. Like, everything about this whole movie is fantastic. And honestly, I would consider this probably one of the more perfect films out there. It's definitely like a 9.4 or a 9.5 out of 10 for me. So I definitely highly recommend it. Number 9, we have The Wailing. This is a Korean horror film. I believe it's Korean or Japanese. Don't quote me on that. But this is one of the most realistic incantations I have ever seen of what could be portrayed as the devil. It is absolutely jaw-dropping. The entire movie is dark. Everything about it is just eerie and creepy. And honestly, when you actually do meet the incantation of the devil, you are wanting to take back some of your life choices. But I was absolutely floored about the entire movie, and watching a foreign film with English subtitles where you can hear the original language, you don't have to hear the Americanized version of everything. That's just phenomenal. Number 8, now this is a fun one. My mother and I, we have an absolute fascination with animal movies. You know, Beast with Idris Elba, or you have Arachnophobia, you have like all these killer animal movies, right? And when I tell you, my mom and I went and saw this movie and we were shocked about how well it was. It's pretty much set in one location. The suspense is very intriguing and very effective, and it makes me never ever want to go to Florida and ever have a basement, or even go to Florida or Australia, because crocodiles and alligators are horrendously scary. It is Crawl. Both the daughter and Barry Peppers and Kayla Socia, I believe her name. Don't hate me on how I pronounce her name, but they both are very effective in this movie. And you know, Lake Placid is one of those best crocodile horror movies, but I honestly think Crawl is probably top 3 for animal attack movies with an alligator or crocodile. So I highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. Now, number 7, I did say I was going to get more into like the kid-friendly horror movies, but of course you have to put Gremlins up there. Like Don't Feed 'Em After Midnight, Mogwai, and you also have the little Mogwais keep popping out after you feed them, and you have water. Like, everything about this movie is still great. I honestly am still creeped out by the main gremlin. That's the evil one. It's still pretty creepy to this day. I loved everything about it. It is a horror movie, but it is also set at Christmas. So, in my opinion, it's sort of like Nightmare Before Christmas, where you can watch it at Halloween and Christmas. So, that's my opinion. All right, moving up at number 6. Once again, we do have like another kid-friendly horror movie. It is Hocus Pocus. How can I not ever mention this film around Halloween time? Kenny Ortega did a fantastic job on captivating what witches would be in the era of when witches were alive. Back in 93, whenever they came to modern day and they were resurrected by the Black Flame Candle. Everything about this movie is great. I love this movie with all my heart and all my desire and passion. I will never say this is a bad movie. There are some things that you could argue that plot-wise are horrible, or, you know, it's just a very all over the place movie, but I'm never gonna hate this movie because I grew up on this movie, so I absolutely love it, and it almost made my top 5, but these next 5 movies, you'll understand why. Number 5 is probably the scariest movie and the most creepy and unsettling and unnerving movie on my list. It is Sinister. Now, if you have never seen Sinister, you need to. Just at least once in your lifetime. It has some of the most unsettling jump scares. It has some of the most unsettling, frightening, worldly effects. And the use of the camera, the use of lighting, the use of sound is absolutely incredible. Ethan Hawke puts on a masterclass performance with this movie. And I I'm just getting chills thinking about it. So that's definitely why it made my top 5. All right, number 4. We are getting into the comedy horror now. We are going to go back to the 90s again for Scream. Ghostface is one of the most absolutely iconic horror characters of all time. Of course, if you haven't seen it, spoiler warning, Stu and Billy, the dynamic duo in the first film. Now, I will say as a whole, the Scream franchise I really like. Even 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, you know, especially the newer 2 that sort of resurrected the franchise. I really like them. I like how they play into the trope of what is supposed to happen in a horror movie, and it actually happens. But specifically, the first Scream is going to be the best one, as always. I loved every performance in the movie. It's funny, it's stupid, it's scary at some points. And honestly, when I went back and watched it earlier this week, I kind of forgot how gory and brutal it was. So that's definitely a good thing to have whenever talking about a horror movie. We're down to our final 3 now. This movie, I ended up saying this was, I think, my second favorite movie of last year, 2024. However, I went back and watched it, and I do agree with myself that this is actually my favorite movie of last year. It is Nosferatu. Robert Eggers did something absolutely, I don't even know the right words to describe it. Bill Skarsgård as Count Orlok did absolutely phenomenal. Lily Rose Depp, who honestly should have been probably one of the other actresses that won Best Actress, the way she goes through emotions and faces within like a 20-second period is absolutely jaw-dropping. The music was absolutely euphoric. I loved the performances from Willem Dafoe, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Nicholas Hoult. That movie, in my head, I will watch every single month, and I will never get tired of it. Nosferatu unleashed a core emotional power that I never thought I would ever have again, and I'm so glad that I was able to witness it in the theaters and watch it, because it truly gave me an understanding of what this world can be and what forces there are. And it just absolutely blew me away. And I'm so excited for Robert Eggers' next movie. I believe it comes out Christmas 2026, but it's werewolf set in the 13th century about werewolves. I think it's going to be absolutely phenomenal as well. And this may be a hot take, but I do think this is probably his best movie, even with The Witch and The Northman and The Lighthouse. I think it's his best movie. All right. Number 2 and number 1, honestly, are interchangeable for me. However, I am going to give the number 2 spot to John Carpenter's Halloween. Michael Myers, Jamie Lee Curtis. There's honestly nothing to really be said. Honestly, Halloween is probably one of those perfect movies as well, where you watch it and you're like, I can't find a fault with it at all. Nick Castle as the Boogeyman did an absolutely phenomenal job. Now, I'm not talking about the resurrected new storyline with Jamie Lee Curtis and her daughter and her granddaughter. I'm actually talking about the original Halloween. Everything about this movie is creepy. The setting is eerie. The music is absolutely phenomenal. And just, it set up an actually great franchise. Now, there are some bad ones. Like, I actually enjoyed the Rob Zombie Halloweens. The newer franchise that's actually connected to the original, I enjoyed. Now, the last one, Halloween Ends, was sort of a buzzkill, but there's still some enjoyable parts. And then you go to Halloween 2, 3, 4, 5, even H2O and Resurrection. They all have their redeeming qualities, yes. But the original Halloween is always going to be the best one and my favorite one. Now, I will say, in the newer one, I believe it was 2017 or 2019 when they resurrected it, John Carpenter, what he did with the music in that movie was absolutely jaw-dropping as well. And to round out my number 1 pick for the best horror movie of all time, you might already know what I'm about to say. Some of you may not. But the best horror movie, in my opinion, is one where every single time you watch it, you get hairs on your back. You never want to go in the water. You never want to go near the ocean. You have such a fear of what is about to happen. And honestly, it has some of the best dialogue. for this movie to be made in the time that it was 50 years ago, and it still holds up to this day. And you have one of the most unsettling monologues of all time about the USS Indianapolis. My number one spot is Jaws. Jaws is one of the most perfect films of all time. It is in my top 5 movies of all time. There's nothing about this movie that is bad. It's honestly a perfect 10 out of 10. When I tell you I got to go see Jaws in theater for its 50th anniversary, I watched it in IMAX, and I also watched it in IMAX 3D. I don't really watch 3D movies, but this, when it was restored for 3D, it made me stand up out of my chair even though I knew it was coming up. And it was absolutely jaw-dropping and phenomenal. Without further ado, that is my top 15 horror movies of all time. Now, obviously, it's only 2025. There are going to be movies that come out later. Even Weapons and Sinister that came out this year. They didn't make my top 15 because I need to watch them a few more times and really weigh my pros and cons with it. A lot of people are saying, like, Sinister is the best movie of this year. You know, I went back and watched it, and I thought it was a little bit more overrated than what it was. But, you know, we'll get to that at the end of the year with my favorites and my least favorite movies of the year. But stay tuned. Next week, I'm going to do my ranking of my top 10 movie franchises. I really appreciate y'all. Please look forward to the weekly uploads. And without further ado, peace, love, and freedom. Love y'all. Bye.